I was invited and did not actually volunteer to give this paper. I was at Summer Festival and I was participating in a very interesting session about fact and fiction in the scriptures. And we came across several concepts, including bluff, lies, pretensions, myths, and truth. And at the end, afterwards, when talking outside with the lecturer and one other person, I frivolously and irresponsibly said, I've been a professional liar in my time. And this led to a little bit of questioning. It's not exactly true. The word liar is not really appropriate. Next morning, the news had traveled, and I was approached to give a paper this winter. It's true that I agreed and didn't refuse, so you can treat me as a volunteer or not a volunteer, whichever you like. Now, how was I recruited? And I'll spend a couple of minutes on recruitment early on, just for clearing up one or two ideas. I had a friend and neighbor from my old country who was working in the Prime Minister's office. He saw that I was going around interviewing people for legal or quasi-legal jobs, having qualified as a lawyer here. I was already qualified and practiced in Britain previously. And he said, how would you like to work for a government organization? Good terms, good holidays, good hours, interesting work, foreign travel, and so on. I had no idea where he worked. I didn't know anything about it. He didn't add anything. He took me in to meet a man who it transpired obviously needed me because of my Hebrew and English abilities in a political research department. And he interviewed me. None of the usual manpower people spoke to me at all. I don't know how I was checked. I don't know how I came to be accepted, because in my later days I realized that I wouldn't possibly pass the criteria required of new recruits. The man who was interviewing me was a very good chap, and he knew my friend very well, and he said, how is it that in your Hebrew there isn't any noticeable Manchester accent? My friend had one, and apparently it was quite noticeable. Now, I was accepted into this organization without knowing what it did and what it was called even, after a year and a half in the country. Apparently, the security people had done their checking fairly quickly and found me not wanting and not a security risk. Anyway, the date for my starting of work was fixed, and I had about a month's notice before starting. After about 10 days of this month had passed, I got summoned urgently through my friend to attend my place of work, practically 3 weeks or just 2.5 weeks before I was due to start. I was taken to the room of the head of the organization, a man whose name was Issa Harel. I scarcely knew the significance of the name or what he did or what organization he was running. He said, now you're from Manchester, aren't you? I said, yes. He said, and you've got contacts there, haven't you? And I said, yes, I haven't been long far from Manchester, I haven't been far away from there for very long. So he said, I want you to go there. I wasn't shocked or anything like that. He explained to me the reason. Now, there's a little bit of history here. In the late 1950s, there was an affair in Israel with serious political repercussions. It was called Yosseli Schumacher. I don't know if this name means anything to any of you. It's quite a while ago. Yosseli Schumacher was the grandson of Haredi parents, grandparents, who were very unhappy about the way his parents were bringing him up and educating him. And there was a family rift here, a rift. They arranged his abduction away from his home, and he disappeared. Now, this got into the press and into the political game, and Mr. Ben-Gurion thought that it was very important for his status and his good stock that he does something and gets the boy back home, one way or another. So he told Issa Harel to find the boy. Now, there was information that the boy had been to Manchester and somehow hidden within the Haredi community there. So I went and over there and used my contacts, couldn't lay hands on him, couldn't get any firm information from him. At one stage, towards the end of the time I was prepared to give to this in Manchester, I went to a barber's shop in a Jewish area, and I mentioned to the barber that I was looking for a fellow of certain description and characteristics from Israel, and he said, yes, a week ago I think I had that fellow here in the chair, but I don't know where he is now. It transpired that he was already in the USA. In fact, I contributed absolutely nothing to this operation, but I got a good ride and was happy to see my family unexpectedly in Manchester. And I didn't even have any minimum training. I was supposed to write reports every day. I had no idea of the format of reports in this new profession. I knew how to write. My Hebrew was adequate for the purpose. Now, I don't think that many of my colleagues at all over the years were recruited after 1.5 years in the country. I can't say for certain that there weren't others who were, but I don't know of them. I say that had I been a candidate in later years, I know from experience that if I'd been in the manpower division, I wouldn't have thought of recruiting me. I would be highly unsuitable. One of the problems with the recruitment, and I just mentioned this as an aside, is that we are very often looking for people who fit in the box and are not too far outside the conventional standards of human behavior and character. On the other hand, at the same time, we want people with initiative, imagination, prepared to do their own thing outside the box. And it's quite a problem reconciling these two aims. Anyway, as I say, but I was already in the early days and got away with it. Okay, I got back from, after failing to find Yosseli Schumacher, who was returned to Israel and the crisis passed. I actually met him about 10 years ago as a grown man, and he didn't know anything about me, but I told him I knew about him.